Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. The Murphy administration recently has freed up $20 million to expand pre-K at 28 new school districts, including the Township of Ocean School District. Here to talk about that is James Stefankewicz, who is Superintendent, Township of Ocean School District. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So you're getting this, how much money are you getting?
We're getting about $582,000.
And how do you implement that? What happens?
We are, well, there's a couple things. So we have an existing pre-K program now. Primarily it's a part-day program. And our kids we have a group of 3-year-olds that go for part of the day and a group of 4-year-olds that go for part of the day. We also serve a large special needs population with our pre-K. So we have mostly special needs students, but also typically developing students as well. This will enable us to expand those, the new funding is for typically developing students because for special education students, it's mandated already.
Okay, got it.
So the new funding will enable us to expand our programs for typically developing students to full day. And then our plan is to integrate our classes so that it's both typically developing students with special needs students, because that's really...
How many more students will be included now?
This year, we will have one full-time classroom of 12 typically developing students, and we will integrate 3 special needs students into that classroom. And our plan for next year is due fairly soon, in the next couple of months. So we're obviously, much of it is dependent, of course, on the legislature and the passing of budgets. But we anticipate that funding will continue for the next several years at least.
Yeah, we have all these budget conversations. This makes it granular. You know, this makes it a child who gets to go to pre-K or doesn't get to pre-K. But that has to be a concern for you, because it can be a politically divisive topic only because of the budget fight. Not that nobody wants a child to go to pre-K, but because of the budget fight, can we afford it?
Well, I think for us, how we look at it is, my conversations with our local politicians is that this has bipartisan support. So obviously, you know, in the world of politics, many things can happen and things can change, you know, on the drop of a dime. But there does seem to be good support on both sides of the aisle to support continuing to fund pre-K expansion. Correct.
How many parents wanted their children to go to pre-K this year? Do you know? How many? It's a lottery, right?
Well, when we did our lottery for our part-time slots, we have 28 students who are in that program. However, for our typically developing students who are not economically disadvantaged, we do charge tuition of $2,500 a year. Now, because of this funding, however, that will no longer be needed. So in other words, all those parents who paid for their kids to be in our part-time program will get a refund for October through next June. So that's a wonderful thing for them. So even if they do stay in the part-time program, they don't get the lottery to go into the full-day program, they're going to get money back that they've put out, because now that'll be funded, and also we will start to transport.
Do they automatically get into pre-K because they paid in the past
no,
and now they get it for free?
No. It's still part of a lottery program. So those parents who were in our part-time pre-K program, they will have to apply for the full-time slot. There are some parents who don't want the full-time slot at this point. They like their children being in part-day. So we have those who are applying. We'll do another lottery for the full-time program. If they don't get the full-time program, they will remain in the part-time program. But if a child goes into the full-time program from the part-time program, we'll then backfill that program. So a student who was not in probably any pre-K, then at the very least will have a part-time program.
And for the students, for the families that didn't win the lottery, could they still pay a tuition to get their child in?
At this point, now that we're funded through this pre-K expansion money, we are no longer able to charge tuition for it. So all of our students, whether it's full day or pre-K or part day at this point, will be funded to attend preschool. The funding for the part day kids it's at half the rate.
So how many families are left without pre-K that want pre-K?
Well, right now for this school year, well, our population of 3 and 4-year-olds is around 430 students. So it's still a good amount of kids for this school year that won't necessarily be able to come to our pre-K programs. We also, I want to mention, in this process, have partnered with Head Start program in Neptune Township, which is right down the road from our school district. They work with a number of school districts. Actually, the state was highly encouraging grant applicants to partner with private providers. And so we have 2 classes of students also attending the Head Start program, which of course you may know is a federally funded, now state-funded program for low-income families. So really this whole program for us this year will house 2 full-day classrooms at the Head Start program and then 1 in-house. But the Head Start program, they're already filled, so we're not recruiting for those.
So there still would be some families that want, even with the Head Start program, that would want their children in pre-K that will not be able to do it.
This year,
which kind of shows the width and depth of the situation and how much money it would cost.
Most definitely. To
get everybody into pre. Do you have a figure for your school district, how much money it would require?
Well, if we can do quick math here, we have a population of around 430 3 and 4-year-old students at a funding rate of about a little over $13,000 per student. So I don't have a calculator on me.
No, I got it. It's a lot of money.
It's a good amount of money. So it's millions of dollars.
We've talked so much, and excuse me for this, we've talked so much about the economics of it and who would be left out and how you were chosen. We haven't talked about the benefits. The benefits of pre-K has bbeen pretty well established.
Without question. Research is clear. The earlier that we can get students into a learning environment, then the better it is for those students, without question. Interacting both socially, such a big part of education right now is social emotional learning. So it's not only about the academics, which is great that we can get kids, a good jump start on their academics, and a lot of curriculum right now in pre-K is learned through play. That's such a big part of it. I mean, certainly the pre-K is not sitting down at your desk, taking notes. It's about playing, it's about learning, it's about interacting, it's about developing self-confidence. It's all of these things that we want to try to instill in students from a very early age that they feel more comfortable. And so the gaps that start to form for students as they get older, that we can lessen those gaps. Like right now, we have a group of students who, and this is not just an Ocean, Township of Ocean issue. This is a national issue, that we have folks who can afford, private pre-Ks or their districts have, pre-K programs. They get the jump start, while other families other kids whose families perhaps can't afford private pre-K, which can cost upwards of $10,000+ a year for families. They're coming to school, say they're coming to kindergarten already with a learning gap. And those gaps sometimes, as hard as we work as a school district to try to close those gaps, sometimes those gaps.
And that age is so important.
Absolutely.
That age becomes so important.
That's
we
critical.
have to go, but thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in to talk about it. James Stefankewicz is the superintendent of the Township of Ocean School District. Coming up on Jersey Matters, some of our lakes turned dangerous over the summer because of algae. They're working to make them safe. We'll tell you what they're going to do over the winter when Jersey Matters continues.